Hi, I'm Liz, an agronomist based in Gippsland for Vast Agronomy, discussing with producers where we're headed for the next 3, 5, 7 to 10 years and where their pastures are headed. So some of the key messages and takeaways that I have for producers is we don't really want to focus on immediately right now. It's more a down the track approach. So where are we headed? What stock classes are we trying to feed and what sort of yields do we need, and matching our perennial pasture production to our requirements throughout the year. We've come through a period that's been very, very wet, which was followed, that was after a dry period, and we've had the chance to establish perennial pastures. Now what we're seeing is a lot of weeds are starting to come up, so we're targeting those pastures to improve them and setting up for 12, 18 months down the track so that we can continue to sustain our production in a cost-effective and environmentally friendly way while still being able to keep our stocking rates up and hit the target markets that we're chasing. So a big focus of what we're looking at is knowing what's in your soil first, what's actually going to be required for the pasture species that will fit for your stock class, and managing our nutrient status effectively so as that we're not mining nutrients, we're not oversupplying nutrients, and we're working to our most cost-effective way that we can going forward. By doing some soil tests first, some deep cores, and looking at what the nutrient status of our soil is, we can make our plan and map out where we're headed in the future and match our pasture production. Right now, we're in the middle of a colder period for us, so a general rule, once we get below that 13 degrees in soil temp, we're looking to put cereals in instead of using, say, traditional pastures, so as that we can build a bit of a feed wedge for over the winter, feed our stock, and then aim to go back to either a summer crop or prolong our pasture and do a fallow to go back into either an annual next autumn or a perennial from autumn onwards if our pastures are clean enough. So the focal point is actually really setting up so as we can get the longevity out of those pastures rather than just banging it in and off we go. We need to really focus on what we are trying to achieve and making sure that we are feeding our pastures appropriately to get the longevity out of them. A good consideration to make is looking back and keeping a record of when your paddocks have actually been getting grazed or cut for silage or hay, so we can actually do some yield mapping across the farm to work out which are our poorer performing pastures, rather than everything getting down to a base and looking across the entire farm and having to do everything at once. If we can just break it up into sections and pick our worst pastures first and then program the approach so as that we can step through and we're constantly getting rejuvenation of pastures so as that we can improve our resilience long term by always having something actively growing, utilising the moisture, keeping the soil cool and making sure that erosion isn't an issue, and we will avoid overgrazing because there's always something fresh coming through. When we're actually incorporating a longer term plan, we can look at where we're headed. So it's no different to driving a car. You're not looking at where the headlights are, it's where they're going. So that's how far we want to sort of look into the future and know what we are trying to achieve longer term, so as that we can maintain performance and production across the whole farm and take a whole farm approach as opposed to just a single area. So when we're planning our pasture renovation, it's about where we're headed, not from where we are right now. It's a long-term approach. If you've got concerns about your pastures or where you might want to get started, there's a lot of resources available through Agriculture Victoria. A good first step is just to have a walk across your pastures and have a look at what you might be able to see, and then get in contact with a local agronomist that can actually come out and make a whole farm plan with you to step you through the process, so as it's not as confronting as it might be starting from not knowing exactly where you're headed, so that you can walk through it together.